You walked into that party, loving two people at once, and somehow still ended up the loneliest person in the room. The triangle the three of you built was supposed to hold everyone up, but lately, it felt less like a shape and more like a line, with you standing at one end, watching the other two drift further away. They said they still cared, but the silence that followed, your question, was its own kind of answer. And when they finally spoke, you understood everything without either of them finishing a single sentence. What they admitted on that balcony didn't just end something, it started the part of the story nobody tells you about. The first thing you noticed when you walked into the party was that neither of them saw you come in. That shouldn't have hurt. It was a crowded room, Mina's apartment packed wall to wall, with Class 1A and a handful of second years, music thumping low enough to talk over. But you noticed Katsuki first, leaning against the kitchen counter, with his arms crossed, red eyes sharp and scanning the room, like he was daring the world to bore him. Ijiro was beside him, laughing at something. Neither of them looked up when you stepped through the door. He stood there for a moment, jacket still on. Something cold settled in your chest. Not jealousy at watching Kirishima laugh with someone else and not notice you. But lately, it felt like the triangle had started to feel like a line, and you were standing at one end, watching the other two from a distance. You tried to say something about it 3 weeks ago. You've both been distant, you'd said, sitting between them on Katsuki's couch, which used to feel like the safest place in the world. Not in a bad way, I miss you. Both of you. Ijiro had looked at Katsuki. That alone had said something. We're right here, Katsuki said, voice flat and careful. I know you're here. I'm saying something's changed. A silence that stretched out one beat too long, and then Ijiro, gentle and terrible. Maybe you're overthinking it. You hadn't pushed. You should have. Instead, you nodded, let it go, and the distance grew another inch. Tonight you got yourself a drink you didn't want, and found a corner near the window. The city hummed outside, indifferent. You watched your two boyfriends across the room and tried to figure out when you'd started feeling like a guest in your own relationship. Ijiro spotted you eventually. His face broke into that wide, unguarded smile, and he cut through the crowd toward you, Katsuki trailing a half step behind. Hey, when did you get here? Few minutes ago. You smiled back. It wasn't even fake. You loved him, and that was the problem. Katsuki looked you over and gave you a short nod. You look tired. Thanks, Katsuki. Wasn't an insult. I know. You did. That was his version of saying, are you okay? You just didn't have the energy to decode him tonight. Ijiro nudged your shoulder. Come sit with us. Kaminari's about to lose at cards, and it will be hilarious. In a bit, you said, I'm okay here. They exchanged a glance, that quick, wordless thing, like you weren't standing right there watching it happen. Okay, Ijiro said carefully. Come find us then. He watched them walk back and thought, there it is. They're leaving me once again. The conversation happened on Mina's small balcony. The three of you finally alone, with the city sprawled below, and the party muffled behind the glass door. You'd asked for it. You'd said, can we talk? And they'd followed without arguing, which showed you they'd been waiting as well. Something's been wrong for a while. You started, and I've let it go because I didn't want to make it into something. But I need to know, if you're. Are you still in this? The silence that followed was its own kind of answer. Ejiro was the one who spoke, because he always was. We care about you. You know that. But that's not what I asked. Katsuki had his arms crossed, jaw tight, staring at a fixed point on the railing. He wasn't blowing up. That was how you knew it was serious. Katsuki only went quiet when something was costing him. It's not working, he said finally, low, rough around the edges. For any of us. You feel it too, or you wouldn't be asking. It landed exactly as hard as you'd expected. You exhaled slowly, through your nose, and looked out at the city, because looking at either of them felt like too much right now. So that's it. You said, not a question. We didn't want to. Ajir started. I know. You cut him off. I know you didn't. And that was the worst part. Honestly, there was no villain in this. No one had cheated. No one had been cruel. No one had stopped caring. Something had just quietly shifted. And none of you had been able to shift it back. And now you were standing on a balcony in the cold, while the party carried on inside without noticing. You picked up your jacket from the railing where you'd set it. I'm gonna go home. I'm not angry. I can't be here right now. Let us walk you out. No, please don't. Katsuki said nothing. Take care of yourselves. You said, and you meant, both of them. And then you went back inside before either of them could respond. 6 months is a long time when you decide to use it. The version of you that walked home that night was quiet and hollowed out. And then slowly, you started filling the space they'd left with things that were entirely yours. You trained harder and slept better, and said yes to things you'd previously talked yourself out of. You stopped shrinking in rooms where you used to. You got comfortable taking up space. And the next time you walked into a crowded room, you didn't stand in the doorway waiting to be noticed by someone. Instead, you just walked in. This time, more confident than ever, and knowing that you won't be waiting for anyone, and that you won't be sad the rest of the evening as you are watching them, alone in your own space. This time, you drank and had fun with your friends, and it was the best night ever for you. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye!